This is All of It on WNYC. I'm Allison Stewart. Some breaking news regarding our March Get Lit Book Club event. As you know, we're reading the novel A Guardian and a Thief by Megha Mujumdar. The story is set in the near future in Kolkata, India. The heat is oppressive. Climate change has led to famine. Everyone is struggling to survive. One family is just days away from escaping to the U.S. only to have their immigration documents stolen by someone who is also desperately trying to care for his family. I'll be in conversation with Megha next Tuesday, March 24th at 6 p.m. at the New York Public Library, our partners. And today we're excited to announce our musical guest, Puraban Chatterjee. Puraban is a sitar master who fuses Indian classical music with contemporary genres from around the world. He even redirected his flight from India just to be at our Get Lit event. So join me, Puraban, and author Megha Mujumdar next Tuesday, March 24th at 6 p.m. Tickets are sold out, but sometimes the library opens up a few in the days before the event. So head to wnyc.org/getlit for more information. You can also watch a live stream of the event. Again, go to wnyc.org/getlit for that information as well. And I'll see you on Tuesday. Riz Ahmed is an Emmy Award-winning actor and an Academy Award-winning filmmaker, as well as a critically acclaimed rapper. Now he can add TV series creator to his resume. The series in question is Bait. It's centered around a struggling actor named Shah Latif, played by Ahmed. Shah is a Pakistani Brit who auditions to be the new James Bond and becomes the focus of an intense media firestorm about race, class, belonging, and identity. And as Shah navigates this position, well, he doesn't always make the best choices. Meanwhile, he's also trying to find his place in his chaotic family and community and sort out or sabotage his love life and get his career on track without having a panic attack. Bait premieres March 26th on Amazon Prime. Riz Ahmed is here in studio. Riz, welcome back to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's good to see you again.
It's good to see you as well. Bait is a British slang term. What does it mean?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite British slang words. It means being really blatant or unsubtle or in your face. And it's an adjective, but it's also a verb. You can bait someone up. It's like blowing up someone's spot. But it has more meanings than that. And each of the different meanings corresponds to one of the different elements to the show, because our show has lots of different genres to it. So bait is also, literally speaking, something is used as part of a trap. And there's a spy thriller element to our show. In Urdu, it means loyalty or allegiance. It's about Shah trying to, balance ambition and family. In Arabic and Hebrew, it means home. And there's a big family element to this. And online for Gen Z, trolling someone is baiting them. So, and there's a very much a kind of psychological kind of social media spiral element to our show as well. So, the show, just like the show's title, has all these different flavors, all these different dimensions. And that's what life feels like. It feels messy and slightly chaotic in its tonal whiplash. And I wanted to kind of have that in the show.
I'm going to start a little bit with the show, and then we'll expand out a little bit. It begins with an audition, and your character's auditioning to be James Bond. Let's talk about that scene. What did it take to write that scene, a Bond-like scene? What elements did it have to have?
Oh, that's a great question. Yeah, I think there's an amazing kind of cocktail, no pun intended, for of Bond scenes, and it's kind of set such a template that as a fan it's not too challenging to inhabit. It's challenging and tricky to do it well, but I think there has to be a femme fatale. I think there has to be a difficult or impossible choice, and I think that choice usually has to be about your professional loyalty and your emotional loyalties. And I think there's something interesting at the heart of a lot of the kind of like Bond stories that actually really corresponds to our own show as well. So much of it's about being pulled between your professional ambition and your kind of personal relationships, and do those two things have to be mutually exclusive? It's something I'm still trying to work out.
It's interesting, and I'm not giving anything away. Shah kind of bombs the audition. But he sort of seems surprised. He's like, hey, I'd like to take that again. And she's like, no, you're not taking this. You're not going to do this again. What does this tell us about Shah?
I think he's hoping against hope, and sometimes being delusional and being hopeful and being ambitious. It's a really blurred line between those things. You know, Shah is a dreamer, and he's running towards a dream. But I guess, and that can be a really positive thing, a really empowering thing. You know, but sometimes you have to make sure you're not also just running from yourself. And I think that's the circle he has to square. You know, can you run towards a dream but take your community, your family, and even your sense of self with you? Or do you have to leave that at the door when you're chasing dreams of a certain size and of a certain grandeur? So I think it shows that he's, you know, he's a dreamer, you know?
Where is he in his career?
So it's a great question. Shah is, he's an actor who's fallen on hard times. He's about to turn 40, and he had a small role in a Star Wars-esque franchise back in the day called Galactic Horizons. One of his prized possessions are those Funko Pop dolls they make that are in crates in his mother's garage. And he also did a rom-com called Under the Mango Tree. Didn't do as well as he'd hoped. It's about a white woman eats mango, and it's a magical mango, allows her to time travel back to colonial India, where she falls in love with an Indian servant boy played by Shah Latif. Unfortunately, it wasn't the four-quadrant smash he was hoping for, and he's fallen on hard times. And, you know, he manages to get through to this audition to be the next James Bond. But as you say, when word gets out he might be playing the role, people have some pretty strong opinions and varied opinions, which is confusing for a people pleaser who's trying to please everybody.
Yeah, Shah hopes that it will leak to the press that he becomes, or he's in the running for James Bond. We won't say how, but it does leak to the press. What does he hope will happen? Does he really think he's going to get James Bond?
I think he wants the role badly.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. I think those of us who aren't even actors want that role badly. And here's what I mean. James Bond is the archetypal, iconic symbol of success, decisiveness, desirability. Part of all of us want to be James Bond in a way, right? And that's why I think that the show, hopefully, isn't really about acting. It isn't even really about James Bond. It's about the gap between who we want to be and who we really are. Right? And do we own that gap, or do we try and hide it?
Let's listen to a clip from Bait. This is at his home with Shah and his family. Take a listen.
Shah, are you going to be the next James Bond?
What?
Huh? Wait. It might be cup. Can
I have a look at that?
Oh, no. It's legit. What the Oh my God. What's Bond, Shah? This is crazy. Wait. Chill, man.
Check the website. It's BBC. We can't trust him.
Greg Daniel मर गया क्या साला?
Bro, why didn't you tell me?
It's just an audition.
Super
James Bond मेरा शाजू.
Listen, it's an audition. It's a photo from today's audition. That's all it is.
What makes sense though, man? James Bond is white.
हमेशा नजर लगाता मेरे बच्चों को चुप.
I'm the He's playing. Do you know how much sex James Bond does? वो तो sex करता है.
तो क्या हो गया? तो उसमें क्या हो गया?
I'm the and he's shaggy.
ये उन लोगों का मुल्क है, इनको भड़काओ नहीं.
Listen, Baba, it's okay to be a little bit excited. You know, it's nice even just to have the opportunity. It's a big deal. You know, Brown, James Bond. You should be proud. It's you know.
This guy's face is going to be blasted everywhere. Imagine it.
Daniel Craig got paid 20 M's for the last movie.
My Shaju will get 21.
It's just calm down. It's just an audition, yeah?
Call me if you need a body double for sex scenes.
I love that scene because everyone in the family is talking over each other.
That's family, right?
It's so good.
Yeah. I mean, we really wanted to kind of throw people into this world, throw people into this experience, you know, the direction and the camera work from, by Frank Lamb, our DOP, and our director, Bassam Tariq, who also directed Mogul Mowgli, a film that we did together, is just really kind of... Yeah, it's just immersive, immediate, and kind of visceral. You just feel like you're suddenly there. You're part of this chaotic family. And so that was really important to us, but it wouldn't have been possible without the incredible cast we have. Guz Khan, who's a kind of national treasure now in the UK. We're very well-known stand-up comedian who's my cousin in that clip saying, it doesn't make sense though, bro. James Bond is white. Kind of low-key hating on my success. Sajid Hassan, one of the most prominent actors in Pakistan who wants to be the body double in sex scenes, playing dad there. Sheba Chadha, one of the most well-known and beloved actresses in India. over there who thinks that I'll get 21 million compared to Daniel Craig's 20, and Asiya Shah, who's a rising star in the UK, who's just such personality and such a kind of unique presence on camera. And so, yeah, we were just really blessed with an amazing team. And I think comedy is about chemistry. And so what you hear and what you see is the result of, I think, just that family vibe that actually existed between us on set.
I'm speaking with Riz Ahmed. He's the creator and star of the new series Bait, about a young actor trying to make it, but managing to get in his own way. All 6 episodes will stream on Amazon Prime on March 26th. Is it true that you had to talk to Barbara Broccoli to be able to use the James Bond-ness of this?
Absolutely did.
Yeah.
So
cool?
when we came up with this show kind of dates back 10 years for me, kind of scribbling down various anecdotes and stories about increasingly ridiculous situations I found myself in. Again, there were situations that juxtaposed my public and private self and how gaping the chasm was between those two things. And it's thought about, how do we kind of allow this to kind of cohere? What's the vessel through which we can talk about, who we want to be versus who we are? We said, of course, it's the out-of-work actor who wants to be James Bond. That's it. That's the perfect analogy. But then everybody said, yeah, good luck. She's never going to let you use it. Not in a million years. And rightly so. Barbara Broccoli's kind of shepherded this franchise from strength to strength. She's inherited it. It's a family heirloom. It's a prized possession. But I thought, I have to try, man. I have to try. So we wrote her a letter, wrote her an email. Sat with her, had a long brunch with her actually, at a diner in LA, and gave her the scripts for the first 3 episodes and said, this is what I'm trying to do. And I explained to her that, honestly, it's not really about James Bond.
He's a symbol of other things.
He's a symbol of success and aspiration. He's the archetypal mask that we want to wear when we're feeling vulnerable, And so I showed it to her, and to her credit, she totally got it. She totally understood it. And she really loved it. And she said, go ahead, go with God. Her one stipulation was, do not portray me in this show. And I
funny.
was like, no, I wouldn't dream of it. I've got utmost respect for her as a woman and as a producer. And so, yeah, she let us go with it. And it really is I don't think it's ever happened before. I don't think the kind of, the rights holders to the Bond franchise have ever allowed people to do something like this with it. I think it really just kind of spoke to the strength of those scripts. Honestly, we had an incredible writers' room with people from The Bear in there, people from Yellow Jackets, people from the Colbert Report, the Jon Stewart Show.
That's a really interesting writers' room.
Yeah, we had some amazing people. We had some stand-up comedians. We had people who worked with Hassan Minhaj. We had a really amazing brain trust, and because we're trying to thread a really specific needle. We're trying to make it a comedy and also a family drama, but also a spy thriller and a love story and something that's a love letter to home. And we needed the best brains possible, much smarter than me, and we got them, luckily.
So one thing about Shah, and I was discussing this with my producer, Andrea, who brought you in, we are both moms, and we were like, he makes bad choices, man. We both give the same age. Like, this poor guy is making some bad choices regularly. Why does he do that?
Because that's what humans do. Because that's who we are. Because we're messy, and really because we want to be loved, and we look for love in all the wrong places. That's really the cardinal sin, but also the most human, relatable, forgivable thing about this character. He just wants to be loved. And actually, he needs to be loved. And that's the real problem. Has a deficit of self-love. In many ways, I would describe the show as it's Mission Impossible if the impossible mission was self-love.
Yeah.
But
he wants fame too. He doesn't just want the heartfelt part. He wants a little bit of fame.
Well, I think these days isn't the kind of currency of acceptance, validation, and social affirmation some level of notoriety, right? Like, we're living in Warhol's moment of everyone gets their 15 minutes, right? Well, I want mine. If everyone gets their 15 minutes, can I have an hour? Right? Actually. And so I think that it is actually, in this social media age, I think what Shah wants isn't that different to what most of us want. We want to be publicly affirmed. We want to have our existence kind of
you care less
celebrated in some way.
You care less about that as you get older, though.
Yeah,
You do?
yeah, I think so. And I feel that myself massively. It's probably why I'm able to make this show now and kind of like look back slightly at the kind of the validation seeker that I was. Now I'm just much more of a sleep seeker. Now that I've got a young kid, I just really want to catch the Z's whenever I can rather than the likes.
It's interesting. There's this sort of sad moment. Not sad. It's like, it sort of breaks your heart a little bit when he's looking for a watch that he got when he was a kid. I think in high school.
No, it was a watch that he got. It was a Rising Star
Rising
Award
Star, that
for
was
best new actor
Right.
at the Toulouse Film Festival from 2015.
And he's looking at it. And what is he thinking when he's looking
thinking,
at
I
it?
have to sell this.
Right.
Can I tell you, this is all drawn from my real life. Like, there's
Really?
so much in this show that's from honestly, there's a park where we filmed this scene from the character's childhood. That's the park behind my parents' house. There's a panic attack in the Kentish Town Forum, a famous music venue in London. That literally happened to me when I was supporting Wu-Tang Clan. Almost got booed off stage in front of 5,000 people. Had a panic attack, burst out into that same alley we filmed in. And also, one of the first things I ever was awarded as a prize, I did a micro-budget film called Shifty, which was nominated for a BAFTA. It was made with just like a motley crew of friends. Against all odds, it did well as a movie. And I won a watch. I was awarded a watch for like best, Rising Star or whatever. And I opened that box and took the watch out and wore it for the first time, I think 15 years after it had been awarded to me, because I always felt like this is an insurance policy. And probably once every 6 months, I would check what I could sell that watch for.
Wow.
And that's about the precarity of, anyone who's self-employed, honestly, in this economy.
Yeah.
But it was also about, I don't know, I just felt there was something heartbreaking in that about the character. When I think about it, there's something heartbreaking in that for me. It's like, I don't feel I can kind of count my wins. I have to kind of like hide them under the mattress for a rainy day, because you always feel a rainy day might come. Particularly when you are a child of immigrants, particularly when you've been taught not to trust the universe or society, or that you might get your fair roll of the dice. So, that was pulled straight from my life.
Wow. Your character is prone to panic attacks, and they take these sort of surreal forms. We see them kind of almost like dreams or visions that he has, like a head talking to him, where he's on a podcast hosted by Patrick Stewart. And there's a slight mention of mental health issues in the family. What is going on with him that he's having these sort of visions?
I think it's hard to be a human being in the world right now.
Yeah.
I think there's a reason why anxiety is like the number one chronic health crisis facing us all. And I think for someone like Shah, who is sensitive and is an artist, like, I think being an artist but trying to like sell your wares in the like gladiatorial coliseum of social media is like taking the most sensitive thing possible and putting it in the most bruising place there is, I don't know anyone in the public eye who hasn't had or almost had a nervous breakdown at some point. I've had physical breakdowns. I know most of my friends have had some kind in the public eye, have had a moment of like, I can't do it. It's not really natural. It's not human.
Yeah.
And what you're finding is whether you're a celebrity or not, or you're someone who just liked the wrong tweet or said the wrong thing, the level of scrutiny and that hive mind that we can all face, whether that's cancel culture or judgment or accidentally trending unwittingly for your worst moment. I was watching that thing the other day about that couple who kissed at the Coldplay concert, right? It's like, we're not hardwired as animals for that level of scrutiny. The fight or flight kicks in. So I sympathize with him. I feel like he's having a very human response to a very unnatural kind of goldfish bowl that we all live in at the moment.
I think about that every day. I'm on the radio for 2 hours live every day. I'm like, this could be the last one.
Yeah, right. You never know.
Say the wrong thing.
Exactly. Here we go. Let's make it a good one.
My guest is Riz Ahmed. He's the creator and star of the new series Bait, about a young actor trying to make it. He gets in his own way occasionally. All 6 episodes will stream on Amazon Prime on March 26th. You've done comedy in the past, but you're also known for your intense roles, sort of Sound of Metal. This feels like a mixture of the intense and uncomfortable humor. What made you want to go for both?
When I sit down to watch something with my wife, in front of the TV, you know the thing we watch most often? We watch nothing. We scroll past every title, watch 15 different trailers, and debate about whether we're watching a romance or a comedy or family drama or a spy thriller. So I said, I want to make all of it. It's really trying to solve a very personal problem. I want to give people a full meal. You know, honestly, the projects I love the most are things that walk a tonal line, are things that kind of stretch, bend, or subvert genre. I think that's most exciting to audiences who are so film and television literate now. You got to subvert their expectations. Just for me as a fan and as a creative, it's exciting to me. So I just honestly wanted to kind of be as honest and messy as life is. Like, I don't know, I'm here like, you know, trying to be like, I know what I'm talking about on WNYC. I'm going to walk outside and like slip on a banana skin. You know what I mean? And suddenly I'm in a slapstick comedy. Like life takes place in this kind of myriad of genres. I wanted this show to, and honestly, it's a real point of pride for me that that's a big piece of feedback we're getting, that it's like, it's quite unique in its multiplicity of genre, and it's the different kind of tones that the show is inhabiting. So honestly, it's just the kind of stuff I love making and love watching.
What's hard about comedy?
What's hard about comedy, I think, is so many things are hard about comedy. I think like structuring a joke is almost a technical feat. And yet ultimately it lives or dies on something kind of ephemeral, you know. It honestly, it's like, it feels like poetry to me as someone who's like written a lot of poetry. You know, it's about like, what's the minimum, most concise number of words and the correct amount of space with which you can bypass someone's brain and hit their heart. Or with comedy, you bypass their brain and hit their gut. I want you to laugh before you understand why you're laughing, you know. And so much of that is about the kind of the technical structuring of a reversal, right? Or the spacing around things. There's a real kind of like technical aspect to it. But I tell you what is exciting about comedy is I feel you can be more honest. I feel you can say the unsayable. I think you can be more ugly, more messy, more vulnerable, all of which those things my character in this show is. And I really kind of like look back fondly at doing comedy projects like Four Lions, which I'd done in my past, which is, I mean, it's a comedy about a group of lovable wannabe suicide bombers. I mean, you on paper, you're like, well, hang on a minute. I remember the people coming out of the screening at Sundance Film Festival kind of like, should we be laughing or not? You know, it's a very British humor. It's very kind of dry humor. It's honestly, I think, a place where we can understand, unpack, and laugh at some of the things that are the hardest to work through. And I guess I'll just like say, just on a personal level, I need it. I need to laugh. We need to laugh. The world is so hard right now. Like, yes, like what you're saying is right. Honestly, like the show has all these different threads and elements and themes. If 90% of people watch this show and they just go, that was funny, I'm happy. I'm happy. I just want to give people some joy. I'll give people some honesty, you know?
Why did this feel like the right project for you in your life at this moment?
I felt like for a long time, I think this marks a bit of an evolution in my thought around what my job is, right? So I used to think acting was about being someone else and putting on a mask, right? Now I think it's about taking off the mask and sharing as much of yourself as possible. And so as a natural consequence, that meant diving deep into the anecdotes, stories, and experiences of my own life and trying to share them in a way that felt scary and felt vulnerable but felt right. You know, I feel like there's, as storytellers, our goal is to try and kind of stretch culture. And I think there's two ways of doing that. One is by inhabiting the archetypes that already exist. For example, I've got Hamlet coming out in the US in like 10 days or so, right?
Very excited about that.
And inhabiting those archetypes. And the other way of stretching culture is about kind of trying to offer up new ones, create new molds, not just stretch the ones that already exist. And particularly coming from a community and from a background that I felt hasn't often been represented growing up in a way that's felt honest to me. and celebrated the chaos, you know, of that family scene in the right way. I just really, I wanted to do that. I wanted to offer that. I wanted to kind of contribute that, you know, culturally. And I wanted to honestly work through it on a therapy level. Like, you know, I think that now and more, I feel like if you've got something you need to work out, you've got a series of questions, that's a useful place to go to as a storyteller, not just for you, but for other people. And so I feel like I needed to work out a bunch of stuff around like, well, why am I really doing this? Why am I an actor? Mm-hmm. Is this just the kind of the attention seeker from my childhood that's just never grown up? Like, what is it? Am I trying to take care of my family? When I try and think that I'm like trying to move forward representation, what is that? Is that just a different kind of like, you know, a more supposedly noble version of fame I'm seeking? Like, does it change? Does it move the needle? Did it change anything? Aren't we just worse off than we ever were, like 10 years after the representation window's closed? So like, you know, I'm kind of grappling with all of this myself. And I thought like, man, actually, ask the right way. These are some funny questions.
But it's amazing that you're taking on the role that all actors want to take on. Hamlet is coming out in 10 days.
Yeah. April 10th, I think, is when it comes out in the US.
That's amazing. I mean, it's like the role that all actors want. Have you played Hamlet before?
No, I'd never played Hamlet, but I was in love with the material since I was 17. I got a government-assisted place to go to a private school where I felt very out of place. And I was very lucky to have a teacher who was kind of changed my life. He was a white Jewish guy from the north of England. We ostensibly had nothing in common, but he spoke fluent Punjabi. And he took me under his wing and he understood how I felt out of place there. And he gave me Hamlet and said, this is the stuffiest, most important crown jewel of the Western establishment and the dramatic canon. Have a read of this. And maybe you find yourself in it. And I suddenly realized actually Shakespeare isn't dead. He's been kidnapped. He's been kidnapped by intellectuals and by the establishment. And I read it. Actually, what I found was my own community story. This is a story about who you can and can't marry. People squabbling over the family business. Spirit possession and ghosts appearing to you in dreams or fever dreams. Duty, honor, loyalty. These were themes that were actually part of my lived experience growing up as a British South Asian in Northwest London. You know, Wembley, the neighborhood I grew up in, is kind of an equivalent to, say, Jackson Heights, right? And I was suddenly like, man, this belongs to all of us. So really, honestly, as precocious as it sounds, at the age of 17, I was like, I want to make a movie of this one day. And I want to kind of democratize and smash open what this myth can be and who it can be for and set it in my own community. And so, yeah, man, like 25 years later, we finally managed to do it.
But first you have to watch Bait on Amazon Prime. And then you can go see Hamlet.
Yeah, hopefully. Thanks.
Riz, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.